All right, welcome in to Engage 8. My name is Jaden Kozak. I've got Tyler North here with me. We're going to talk about Packers, Bucs today in our little 8-minute segment. Packers go down, I believe, 23-21 to the Washington Commanders, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers lose 21-3. The Carolina Panthers, these are teams that had Super Bowl expectations coming into the year, and so far we are not seeing that at all from either one of these teams. As of right now, I can't see either one of these teams winning a Super Bowl or maybe even coming close. We're talking about maybe them missing the playoffs with Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, two elite quarterbacks. But I pose you the question, who are you more worried about, Tampa or Green Bay?
Yeah, I got to go with the Packers here. And it more so being, they don't have things on their roster that they can correct. Maybe from the defensive side, but as far as the wide receivers are concerned on offense and just overall playmakers on offense, it's just not something that they can fix in the flip of a switch. They're going to have to go out and get something at the deadline to kind of correct this. Whereas I feel like with Tampa, they have some of those assets, they have those resources available, and it's just more or less figuring it out. But yeah, with both of these teams right now, I mean, they lost to two backup quarterbacks this past week in Heineke and PJ Walker. And we keep saying, oh, this is the lowest point they'll be. This is the lowest point they'll be. They've got time. They're going to turn it around. This is week 7. We're 1 week away from being basically halfway done this season. When are you going to stop looking at the time watch and saying, oh, we got time, we got time? Eventually that time is going to run out. And I think we've probably already seen it. I agree with both teams possibly missing the playoffs. I mean, the NFC isn't loaded. It's got some teams at the top, especially in the NFC East. But outside of that, you got the Vikings and maybe the 49ers look good on paper, but really and truly, it's kind of open. It's up for grabs. There's 6 and 7 spots, in my opinion. So, I am way more concerned about the Packers right now. I don't think Rodgers has any trust, not only in his offensive weapons, but in the play calling, in the front office, nothing. That relationship is completely fractured. And we saw it 2 years ago, and they tried to fly it under the radar and, make an NFC championship run like last year. But eventually those fractures are going to show, and I think we're starting to see it. And I don't know if I really and truly don't think he's going to be there after this year.
Yeah, I mean, that looks like a real possibility if they can't seem to figure this situation out at wide receiver. And I say there's more worry in Tampa, mostly because of what can happen in Green Bay, because there are receivers on the market. There's Odell Beckham sitting in free agency. There's even a guy like Will Fuller sitting in free agency, plus DJ Moore, Chase Claypool, even guys like Jerry Jeudy seem to be emerging, Brandon Cooks in the trade market that Green Bay can go get.
Elijah Mitchell?
Yeah.
Or Elijah Moore?
Yeah, and fix this problem, which this is the problem. I mean, we've talked about their defense underperforming, but I think having, a good offense again can kind of cover that up a little bit because you're not relying on them solely to win you games, but they need to go make that move, especially after losing. I wouldn't be surprised if it comes within the next 24 hours. Teams go out and they lose when they shouldn't have, and then they make a move to try and make up for that. Speaking of, we just saw James Robinson going to the Jets after Breece Hall tears his ACL. I think that's very interesting considering how well Michael Carter played last year down the stretch, but ETN season going crazy in fantasy right now. But I think there's more concern in Tampa Bay, quite honestly, because of what I just said. There's no reinforcements coming for Tampa Bay. This is the roster that they have, and we saw them lose to Pittsburgh the week before, and I was like, okay, maybe that's a bit of a fluke. I mean, I know I was picking Tampa Bay by 100, especially with our secondary woes, but PJ Walker, the Carolina Panthers, who just traded away Christian McCaffrey, mind you, they got their new coach bump a week later, maybe new RB bump that they got. PJ Walker looked fantastic, though. I was shocked. It felt like every time I clicked on Red Zone, PJ Walker was on it. I don't know what's going on there, and the fact.
Well, not only him.
Go ahead.
I was just not only him, but Deontay Foreman and Chuba Hubbard both had great days, and this is supposed to be a pretty good Bucs run D. I know the interior got hit a little bit, but for the most part, this is still the linebacking core is still one of the best in football, if not the best in football. That was a pitiful performance against two guys that are just afterthoughts at the running back position in Foreman and Chuba Hubbard. So as good as PJ Walker looked in the air, I thought those two guys on the ground looked just as good, if not better.
Yeah, and then you look on the other side, the running game for Tampa Bay is completely non-existent. You get 8 carries from Leonard Fournette for 19 yards. Rashad White carries the ball 6 times for 24 yards. Yeah, that's the thing. They're not running the ball, and what they've been doing this season is using like the screen game as their version of the run game, and that's why Fournette has been so prominent for like PPR and stuff. But that doesn't work all the time, and when it's not working, you've got to be able to run the football. Leonard Fournette can run he was good. We saw it last year. He finished really well running the ball, but dude, they've got to figure something out as far as running the ball goes, because you came into the season saying, all right, we do not want Tom Brady to throw the ball 50 times a game to win games, and here we are. He's doing it. He's threw 49 times, 40, 52, 52, and 42 going back to week 3. I mean, I don't know how this gets fixed. This is a good team, and we know that because they were in the playoffs last year, were a play away from coming back and, eventually beating the eventual Super Bowl champions in the Rams, and they won the Super Bowl the year before. But I don't know what to do with this team. Obviously, it's like there's questions about Tom Brady being in it. There's questions about Aaron Rodgers being in it too. I can't seem to figure it out.
Yeah, the first 2 seasons with Brady, 2020 and 2021, the Bucs averaged 30.4 points per game. I think they're down to like 17 or something this year, if that. I mean, and both teams are right in that same realm as far as like 16, 17, 18 points, which is extremely bad. The one reason I would give the nod as far as being more worrisome for the Packers over the Bucs is where they are in their standings. The Bucs are still tied for first, remarkably. As bad as everything's been, they're still 3-4. A game ahead of the Panthers and the Saints, but they're tied for first with the Falcons at 3-4. And the Packers are 2.5 games behind the Vikings, who have already beaten the Packers once, and the Vikings are 3-0 in the division. So big time concerns for Green Bay, because if you're looking at those wild card spots, you've got Dallas, you've got the Giants, you've got possibly the Rams or the or Seahawks or 49ers, one of those 3 teams, if not 2 of those 3 teams. And then maybe even in your own division with the Falcons possibly making a run at a wild card spot. Maybe the Saints, we'll see. But yeah, I would say, you've got a lot more competition at the wild card spot than what Tampa's got in their division to overtake that division and not only get into the playoffs, but get a home game too.
Yeah, I think it's insane the fact that we could be potentially talking about the Bucs winning this division at like a measly 9-8, which is something that we thought we'd see coming out of the AFC South. But like I said,
NFC East.
The Packers are fixable because they can be fixed with one move, and it like we said, it could happen in the next 24 hours. They could go trade for DJ Moore or Chase Claypool or one of those guys tomorrow, and we'd feel a lot better about the Packers moving forward. But the Bucs, it just seems internal. It seems like not everybody's bought in. I don't know if Brady's not bought in or everybody's not bought in because they don't think Brady's bought in, but there's something going on there. We got New England and Chicago tonight. If you don't want to watch that, I totally understand. We will get primetime games soon enough. We're still going to talk about it tomorrow on Engage 8 in all likelihood, unless some crazy trade breaks, and then with our Week 7 review podcast. Go check that out on YouTube. But for Tyler North and Jaden Kozak, this is Engage 8.